he got up from the seat and went to the kitchen. And as I turned around, he was holding a kitchen knife. And again, I asked him, what are you doing? The kids are asleep upstairs. Then he said, the kids are dead. Hi, my name is Julia, and this is my episode of Timeline. I was born in 1981 in Zurich, Switzerland. It was good. It was very protected, I suppose. We were living in a very small village in Switzerland. Those are my first memories. Then in 2003, I moved to Spain. When I first moved to Spain, it was great. It was obviously a place where we had always gone to because my mother is Spanish. And so it was always summer vacation home, and we had lots of friends, but it was a lot of fun. And my sister was also there, one of my younger sisters. So it was nice to be in the same place with her. I met my ex-husband in 2005. My sister and I, we went out to a bar in Barcelona. She got invited to an opening. And as soon as we walked in, I saw him because he was a head taller than most of the people around. And then as the night progressed, we went downstairs to a different area, and he came to the bar while I was ordering drinks, and we started talking. And that's how the relationship started, right from the first night. His name was Mario. So we started going out, and we were together for about a year, and then we moved in together. I suppose about half a year later he proposed. So we got married in June 2007. So the next significant moment was about a year and a half later when we finally got pregnant. It took us a while. And I think for me then it shifted a little bit. As soon as we had our son Caesar, I wanted to be more at home and obviously breastfeeding and taking care of the child. He wanted to find a live-in nanny that would take care of our son, which in theory was good, but to help with the nights especially. But again, I wanted to be more present. He was born in 2009 in July. It took me a while to notice a change, and when I did notice it, I thought it was more me that had changed. I think we didn't communicate as much anymore, but when we did, it was fine. But I think looking back especially, it was quite superficial. So Caesar was born in 2009. We moved to Cape Town in 2012, and then the twins were born in 2013 in August. We decided to call our twins Maximo and Octavia. I moved with Caesar on our own in the beginning. Then Mario would come every few months to visit and to spend time with us. He would maximum maybe stay a month or so. And then he would go back to Spain to work. Mario always disliked living in Spain because and especially in Barcelona where we were living, and he always said he wants to move somewhere else. And my older sister had already moved to Cape Town at that point, and we went to visit and we loved it. Caesar was 2.5 at that point, and so we decided to move. He insisted really to try again for another baby because he said that he didn't want Caesar to be an only child. And again, because I didn't have a set number of how many kids I wanted, I said, okay, fine, let's give it a go. And I was very happy. I think I got more aware of how anxious I would get when he was around because I had just so much more work to do. Because he was not the type of husband that was very involved with Caesar or the twins, especially when they were babies. He never volunteered to do anything. He always went to bed very late, but I still did the night shifts and the day shifts. And I think I realized then that it was very uneven, the relationship, let's say. But it took me a very long time to realize that what I needed and wanted was a divorce. I didn't want to see it, or I just didn't want to realize it. I broke the news to him in May of 2014. I realized that I needed a divorce a few weeks before that. He did many things while we were trying to get divorced. None of them really kind of screamed out to me that he was unstable, and it never occurred to me that he would be able to do what he did. So the divorce was finalized in November of 2015, and then in 2017 he finally made it to Cape Town, nearly 2 years after the divorce was finalized. When he came to South Africa, he suggested that when I pick up the kids after they had spent some time with him, that we would all go out and have ice cream together. And I thought this is a wonderful sign that he's finally able to maybe try and have an amicable relationship with me, so that the kids can see that we can be in the same room together and talk and not be cold towards each other. So on the 6th of April of 2017, I was supposed to collect the kids after they had spent nearly 2 weeks with their father. He had called and said, let's meet for some ice cream with the kids and everything. He called then again to say, please can you come earlier so that we can spend some time together just with the twins. I parked the car and then walked up to his apartment, which was I think on the 3rd floor, top floor of the apartment building. He already opened the door before I had the chance to knock, so he had been looking out for me. And he told me as soon as he opened the door to be quiet because the twins were asleep. And I walked in and it was a very small apartment, and you kind of turned the corner and walked past the little kitchen area and to an open living room. And I saw that he had laid out the kitchen knives, some big ones, on the counter, and I thought, this is strange, the kids could reach that, it's not really safe. But I didn't mention anything, and I just sat down on the couch with my back towards the kitchen. And he sat down in front of me, opposite, and then he just looked at me and in a very neutral tone said, I'm going to make your life as difficult as you have made mine. He got up from the seat and went to the kitchen, and as I turned around, he was holding a kitchen knife, and in a very calm voice, he said, pick up a knife and kill me because I'm going to kill you. And I was in shock. I thought, what is he doing? This is just so surreal. And again, I asked him, what are you doing? The kids are asleep upstairs. What are you doing? And then he said, the kids are dead. He wasn't shouting. His face was completely neutral, and I just obviously didn't believe him. But then I thought, okay, I have to go upstairs and check on my kids. And there was a small spiral staircase going up to their bedroom. I walked up, and as I walked, I could see that he had taken my bag. So I turned around and walked back down again and tried to grab my bag. But he had such a strong grip on it that even as I tried to pull, the arm stayed by his side without moving an inch. And so I thought, okay, it doesn't matter, he can take my bag. And I ran up the stairs to see the kids. And they had 2 beds. Octavia laid on the left one and Maxim on the right one. And it looked like they were sleeping with the covers right onto their chin. And I thought for a second, these are not real, they looked like puppets. But I made my way, it was 2 steps, so the thoughts came very quick. I saw that Octavia, her head was to her left side, and the blood had pooled on her left cheek. And Maximo had blood bubbles in his mouth. And so I realized obviously it was true. And I was in complete shock. I touched them and they were completely stiff. So they had been dead for a while. I noticed that Mario had followed me up, still with a knife in his hand. And I went up to him and I said, what did you do? And where's Caesar? Because it was only the twins that were there. And he said, Caesar's fine. And that's it. I couldn't really think of anything else except that my twins were lying dead in the bed. The beds were quite far apart, so I couldn't touch them both at the same time. So I took Octavia and placed her next to Maximo. But she was so stiff that when I picked her up, it was like holding a board of wood. So I laid them next to each other and I just touched them and said, "This can't be right. This can't be true." I don't know. The time really kind of stood still. I didn't know how much time had passed. I realized that Mario came up the stairs a couple of times to check on me. And at one point I realized I have to get out of here. I have to make sure that my son is fine, that he was okay. I knew that I wouldn't be able to face him, that I wouldn't be able to fight him. He was too strong. And I didn't want to take the risk. There was a little window, and their bedroom was kind of like an attic, so that the window opened up to the roof. So I climbed out and over to the top of the roof, one leg on either side of the roof, and tried to find somebody who was close enough to kind of call for attention. But there was nobody around. So I climbed to the other side, and there was a landing of the other side of the apartment, not that gave to other doors, so not where Mario's door was. And I shimmied myself down and then hung on to the drain pipe. I let go, I dropped down, and then I ran down the 3 flights of stairs. I kept checking to see if Mario had noticed that I had escaped, but he never seemed to have noticed. But as soon as I went down to the ground level, I looked back and I saw that my car was missing, and so I realized that he had left, obviously. I ran to the gate, and it seemed to take me forever. I just didn't have any energy, it seemed. And there I told the guard to call the police because Mario had killed the twins. And he was in shock. He said, "That can't be. I've seen him every day and so good with the twins." And he didn't seem to be able to function either. He was in complete shock. But he managed to call the police, and then I asked him if I could use his phone to call Caesar's school to make sure that he was there. I talked to the secretary and told her, "Please, whatever you do, don't allow Caesar to leave with his father. He has to stay in school." It was a point that I could really just let go, and Caesar was safe. And I just collapsed and cried. And then the police came. We had to walk back to the apartment, and Mario had locked it with the security door. So they tried to break it down, but weren't able to. But they got a hold of the owners and got them to come and open the door. And that's when they found the twins. I had a sliver of hope that maybe I had. Maybe I made a mistake, that they were still alive, but then I asked and they said, no, they're dead. It was another moment that I kind of just collapsed again. And then a lady came who works with the police department to help victims when things like these happened. And then she asked me if I had the number to contact family members. So I called, and my boyfriend at the time, now my husband, was there, and he came with my sister who was visiting. A family member had to stay on the scene, so my sister stayed, and Iro took me to get it checked up by the doctor because I had scratches from scrambling on the roof, and to give me some pills to calm me down. I'm not sure at what point we were told this. I think it was later in the afternoon. They said that they had caught Mario. They found him, they found the car parked off the road and Mario walking towards it. The police stopped and he noticed that they were searching for him and he tried to run away, but they caught him. Caesar was 7 years old when it happened. So I went to the house, I took him to one of the bedrooms and sat him down, and obviously he saw from my face that something had happened. And I told him that Maximo Octavio had died, that Mario had given them something to fall asleep and not wake up. And at that time we didn't obviously know what had happened. I knew that they didn't have any obvious signs of harm. So that's this kind of the thing that I came up with to kind of help him, to try and help him to understand. And obviously for him it was heartbreaking. He loved his brother and sister, and he loved his father. He couldn't understand how he could have done that and why. And then later on he also suffered from survivor's guilt. He didn't understand why not him. So for him it was, and still is, I suppose, a struggle to kind of live with that. The twins were 3 years, 7 months and 8 days, something like that. It's very difficult to say after what happened. I think I was in my own world. I was very cut off. I think it was my way of coping, of my brain and my body kind of to help me cope with what had happened. I think it took me about a week or so before I saw my therapist. I mean, it helped a lot. It was just talking, going through the days, suggested to keep a journal, but because it wasn't something I had done before, it didn't really feel natural to me. It's not something that felt easy. And then he suggested to write letters to the twins, which I then did. He also suggested meditation, which took me a while to get around to the idea because I hadn't done it before. But then I did start, and I have been meditating ever since. And it has always been very helpful, I think. And I mean, the family has always been a great support. Ido has always been there helping out and being my rock, really. And my sisters and my parents as well. I think because I had that support of my family, I didn't really notice it in the beginning. It was invaluable because in the beginning Caesar didn't want to come home. He wanted to stay with my sister, which was good for me because I could be at home and cry and not having to worry that Caesar sees me because he didn't want to see me cry. And so that was a lot of help. And Ido at home, then he would do everything. I was just basically sitting on the sofa or lying in bed staring into space. But then when Caesar came home again and normal life goes on, he had school, and I kind of figured out, okay, I have to continue living for him, so that he has lost his father, he has lost his brother and sister, he now only has me. So he was kind of my reason for living, to make sure that I was okay, so that he would be fine. But obviously in the beginning it was very fake it until you make it. So I started journaling, writing letters to the twins maybe a month or so after they died. And I did that for about a year. During that time, then I realized that there were no books out there for parents who had lost kids. And that set the seed for me to start writing on my own. I need to try and get a book out there to help other parents, to help them realize that even though the death of a child is earth-shattering, there is an after. You will be able to live a good life, even be happy again, you know, that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It takes a long time and it's not easy, and there are still days where you just don't want to get out of bed, but there will be fewer. So the book was published in 2023. My life now is very good. Iro and I married. We have a daughter, Freya, and she's 5 now. So she was born in 2019, sorry. And we live now here in England. My son Caesar is 15 now, and he's a teenage boy, so he's going through hormones and everything like that, but he is also doing well. This has helped me to become more aware of myself, to realize what is important in life. Many things have helped me in my healing journey. And some things that have stuck is my creative side. So I'm much more into doing art. I'm also now a Qigong teacher, which has helped me even more to become aware of my body. And it's something that really resonates with me and has helped me a lot as well in my journey. So I am very happy.